kind. Rewind. This is Dope Nostalgia.
Hello, friends. 268 episodes of Dope Nostalgia. This one is very special to me. My name's Naomi, and I'm your host. So, growing up, a lot of the music I got to take in, especially from the US, was brought to me on the radio from the syndicated show called Open House Party. It was hot on my radio station in Canada in the 90s, and the host was a gentleman named John Garabedian. I reached out to John. I told him about the show, and he was more than happy to come on and be a guest today. So I want to give you the history of Open House Party and John's broadcasting career. Wikipedia moment.
Please bear in mind that Wikipedia can be edited by anyone at any time. If I'm reading you the artist's bio, then you know it's information straight from the source.
Oscillators on. Modulators set. Activate transponder. We are now transmitting digital sound through satellite. The signal spanning the entire continent. You've now become a part of the biggest party on the planet.
The all cool, all request open house party is on the air.
Rolling with the party master, John Garabedian. It's Saturday. Pick up the kid. Tonight, CNC Music Factory, your request. A lot of great non-stop music sweeping. Most important, 800-669-1010. That is you.
John Hood Garabedian is an American radio personality and disc jockey. He is best known as the creator and former longtime host of Open House Party. He has been involved in Massachusetts radio and television stations for more than 50 years. In 2013, he was awarded Broadcaster of the Year for the Massachusetts Broadcasters Association, and in 2014 inducted into the Massachusetts Broadcasters Hall of Fame. He is currently the president of Jam Channel, a syndication company that produces Liveline, hosted by Mason Kelter, a live national weeknight show for top 40 stations. At the age of 17, Garabedian joined Worcester station WORC as a disc jockey. Several years after joining, he became a co-host of the original Open House Party radio program, which was the all-request afternoon show at the time. 4 years after MTV's 1981 debut, Garabedian and fellow WMEX alumnus Arnie Ginsberg started a Boston area 24-hour music video station, WVJV-TV. Their station, known as V66, mirrored MTV's early all-video format and lasted until 1986, when WVJV phased out videos and was sold to the HSN. Life on the V, the story of V66, is a documentary released in 2014 about the channel. Following the end of his first television venture, John Garabedian returned to radio. In 1987, Garabedian restarted the Open House Party show as a Saturday and Sunday evening all-request program in Boston at the station WXKS-FM. Over the next 20 years, the program grew into a nationally syndicated show broadcast on over 175 stations worldwide, including right up here in Canada, which is why I knew all about Open House Party. Now, John retired from Open House Party in January 2017. What an incredible run, and what an incredible man and legend in radio. Here he is to join us here on Dope Nostalgia. Welcome, John Garabedian.
Okay, cool.
So you're in Calgary. Oh, no, you're in Edmonton.
I am in Edmonton. That's right.
I used to be on the radio in Edmonton.
That's how I know. I was saying I religiously listened to Open House Party on Power 92 for years.
Oh, that's wonderful. Yeah, well, we're on Shed.
Yeah. It was on Shed in the beginning, and then when the station changed to the FM dial,
Yeah,
that's when it turned into Power 92, I believe.
I guess you're right, because somehow we went off, and then they put us back on. I don't know what was going on with them. Maybe they did.
from what I understand, you live in a house that has a built-in airplane hangar because you are a pilot. Is that correct?
That's correct. And a radio studio,
Mm-hmm.
3 satellite uplinks. It's like the barbers, 3 shares, no waiting.
That is incredible. Yeah. So how often do you get to flying nowadays?
Well, nowadays is wintertime, which isn't a very good time because my runway, I have 3 houses and they all have runways.
That's incredible.
Right now I'm on Cape Cod, and this is a pilot community, and there's a runway that is owned by all the residents at the 91 homes that are here.
Mm-hmm.
And it's fun because everybody has a common interest. It's a wonderful place. Everybody's nice.
Mm.
But behind my house in Boston, suburban Boston, I have a runway. That was the first one.
Mm-hmm.
And a hangar so I can store them safely out of the weather. And then at my mountaintop cabin in Vermont, I have a grass runway and 2 hangars, one of which is pretty big. And so I can fly from one house to the other, which is the Vermont house is a 4-hour drive from Boston, and the Cape one is an hour and a half, but you can hop around pretty quick with an airplane.
That's incredible. I love that. So
yeah.
So I'm going to start off by saying that you and the open house party were a major part of what shaped me musically in my teens. And like I said to you earlier, I religiously listened to you guys in Edmonton for years. It was exciting and brought us a lot of songs we would have not had on our Top 40 radio up here without your show. So I don't know if you're aware of the amount of music that wasn't normally played on the airwaves except on your show up here.
I do, and I do have a complaint, which I don't know who's in favor of it, but the best thing that Canada could do for its citizens as far as music is abolish the CanCon requirement. It is absurd.
Mm-hmm.
Radio stations in Canada are generally, there are some exceptions, required to pay 40% Canadian music.
Yes.
And so if you take a survey of the most popular songs among Canadians, it's something like 7 or 8% is Canadian, and the rest is from the rest of the world. And not to sound preachy, but where this started was way back in the 60s, when American popular music dominated the world because the rest of the world wasn't putting out much. And the politicians in Canada thought this would be a great thing to popularize, to require the radio stations at that time to play 30% Canadian music.
Mm.
And so they did. And all of a sudden, artists who otherwise would not have been played by Canadian stations, or for that matter, almost any other radio station, because the music wasn't quite that good compared to everything else that was out.
Mm-hmm.
Suddenly they're getting airplay because the law requires play Canadian music, whether it's good or bad. You've got a percentage you've got to keep.
Yes.
And really, if you look at a popularity chart of like the top 30 most popular songs, it's a relativity chart. It's a chart saying relative to everything else, here is the most popular song. Number 2 is the second most popular, and write down. And what stations in the United States and the rest of the world do is they do research to find out what songs are the most streamed, what songs are being downloaded the most, and people still do that, and what songs the research shows when they call people up or send test materials to them over the net is, here are the most popular songs. And we want to play those because that will make our station most listened to, because these are the songs people want to hear.
Mm-hmm.
And when you complicate that with a political rule that says it's got to be Canadian, or you're playing stuff that people in Canada don't really want to hear. They'd rather hear something else.
This is true.
And then they raised it to 40%, which is ridiculous. There isn't 40% of Canadian music that's that good.
I remember that your show, it was like they had to break away from your show to play a minimum of 3 songs, Canadian songs, and then go back to the show.
Songs. Yeah, exactly. And we had to record a couple of special segments, playing artists that were Canadian. And the funny thing is that there are so many Canadian artists who aren't even considered Canadian. The way you determine if a song is Canadian is a thing called the Maple Rule, where you have to have 2 out of 4 categories: music, the song, the melody. That's the M. A is artist. The artist has to be Canadian. P is the production. It has to be recorded in Canada. And L is lyric. The lyrics, the song lyrics, have to be written by a Canadian. Yep. So I remember back in the time when Open House Party was roaring on Sheds, 630 Sheds, and then moved to Power 92. Brian Adams was furious because he wasn't considered Canadian.
I remember this vividly. He was saying, he called it breeding mediocrity. That's what he called the CRTC. Right,
and then Rod Stewart had some song, and he's a British citizen, and he's considered this song was Canadian. And it goes on. Justin Bieber, 2/3 of his songs are not considered Canadian, even though he's the biggest artist out of Canada ever, because he's the artist, but it was recorded in L.A., and the writer was some guy from the UK, and it's just stupid. And it doesn't serve the Canadian citizens well. Spoken as an American who knows how to research music and what people like. Anyway, I'm sorry. It's been one of my pet peeves that politicians get into the wrong places.
The hilarious thing is this was a topic on my list of topics. And you started that conversation. That's great.
Yeah. Well, I produce a show now that is on the air in Canada. We just started out. We're on in Kingston, Ontario, and we're on in Winnipeg on a couple of great radio stations. But, we have to worry that we play at least a couple of Canadian songs, and then the station has to worry about offsetting what we play with more Canadian songs so they can hit that magical 40% of songs that people don't like.
No, it's so irritating.
Yeah.
Well, when I think about
the origin of this, I started to say it earlier, I didn't finish it, was because American songs were dominating Canadian airplay. And since the 60s, when that was first made a rule by the CRTC, it's become a world a pool of music, from the UK, from Sweden, from everywhere.
Yeah.
And the law just made it worse, saying, "Oh, we want to have them play 40%." Well, who is that benefiting? Certainly not the Canadian citizens. It benefits some artists who just aren't that good, who otherwise couldn't get played because they aren't good enough. Let's promote the less competent.
It's funny because it's still happening today, but no one talks about it anymore. Did the MAPL requirements get changed at all, or is it exactly the same? That's what I don't know.
I don't know either, but they did raise it from 30 to 35, and then they made it 40, and it's 40 now.
Well, I mean, we have a lot of other better things in Canada.
Oh, I love Canada. Certainly, with our present environment here in the States, it's every time I talk to a Canadian, I start by apologizing.
That's very kind.
Yeah, hopefully it'll come to an end soon.
True. I was thinking, I made a list of artists that I discovered through Open House Party because of the reason that they weren't played. So I know you had the opportunity to interview so many of them. So if you wanted to share any of your comments about the ones I'm going to tell you, that would be great.
Sure.
So I'm going to start with Sweet Sensation. We didn't have a lot of freestyle on the radio here.
Yeah, they were a group that blew up out of New York when there was a radio station that was 100%, hip hop, freestyle, dance. That was back in the late '80s, and they were three very sweet, pretty girls, and we had them on the show, and they were nice.
Yeah, yeah. I had Betty on the show too. She was wonderful. So it's been a blessing to be able to catch up with so many of these artists years later and see what they're up to. So she's definitely one of them. Latour. Now, Latour, that people are still having sex song, was on a lot.
Yes. Well, as he says in the song, it's very popular.
Right? And remember,
Latour was,
remember how they had to change the lyrics?
Yeah, this AIDS thing's not working, and then the people were offended by that, so they changed it to something else. This something is not working.
The safe thing's not working.
Yeah. Well, Latour was a guy named Bill Latour, who was the production manager, who was on weekends sometimes at a station in Chicago. And I met him one time. He's a very nice guy, and that was his only effort in making a song.
That was it. That was it, because I can't find him anywhere.
Yeah, I don't know what happened to him. He might still be there.
Yeah. Well, maybe one day I'll find him. Same with Goddess. Goddess, the only song I remember was that Let's Get Sexual song.
Goddess? I don't remember that song. Let's Get Sexual? No, Let's Get
Sexual.
Sexual.
No, I don't remember. One Hit Wonder.
Yeah, I don't remember it at all.
Okay. What about Army of Lovers? Do you remember those guys?
I remember the song, but I don't think it was ever a hit.
Well, yeah, it was kind of. I think that they played it on Much Music a couple times, because I remember the video being very different than what else was on the airwaves at the time. Okay, here's one. The KLF.
Oh, yeah. With the massive Motorola cell phone in the video. The thing was about a foot high.
Yeah.
I don't know much about them or what happened to them, but that was here today, gone tomorrow.
True.
Big hit, though.
Tara Kemp.
Oh, my God. You're digging them up.
I know.
And to meet them, you might have to dig them up.
Well, she's been on the show. So.
Oh.
Yeah, she's doing great. Lovely, lovely lady.
Oh, yeah. Well, people do get lovelier as they get older, I guess.
Hopefully. Gerardo, Rico Suave.
Oh, yeah, we eat them raw like sushi.
I believe that, I think he might be a preacher or something now like that.
Oh.
I think. I looked into it. Couldn't get a hold of the guy. But, yeah, maybe he didn't want to talk about the music business. That's what happens sometimes.
He didn't want to talk about probably he had a sour ending. I've always when I was a kid, I used to worry about this. These people have a massive hit, and then the next song is a massive stiff and goes nowhere. The third song is their final try, and they're over.
Yep.
And the sad story is that most artists, especially musicians, as opposed to artists who get thrown into something, they have no idea what a hit is. To them, every single song they've done is their baby, and they don't know the difference. It's like that song by Mark, what's his name, Sugar Ray.
Yeah.
They were a thrash metal band, and they had this one little lilting sort of reggae thing. And
Lie, yes.
Right, and it's like, that's not what they did. They just happened to have this off thing. Or like Extreme, where More Than Words. Huge song, but the rest of their music was like, thrash metal.
I'm a big fan of theirs, so that one was definitely, I think that was a tough obstacle for them after having a hit like that.
Yeah, yeah. But after you have that hit, and you have that massive high of everybody wants to meet you, and everybody loves you, and they cheer when you come on, and then you're a has-been, and nobody wants you. And, oh, yeah, didn't he used to, there was a video, Peter Frampton came out with about 1985 with some video, I forget what song it was, but in the video, at the end of the video, Peter Frampton is coming out of the back door of a theater, and there's some drunk guy lying in the gutter who looks up and says, "Hey, didn't you used to be Peter Frampton?"
Really?
Yeah.
Well played. Speaking of that kind of massive crash, on Friday, Fab Morvan was in Edmonton doing a book signing, and so I got to meet him. And there's a guy who survived the worst imaginable crash in music history. Milli Vanilli.
Milli Vanilli.
Yes.
I remember they were the first artists that we got at Open House Party back then.
Really?
And they came in dressed in these gray tunics, and they were striking because they were very good looking. They were models in Germany.
Yes.
And I'm interviewing them, and they have these thick German accents in their English.
Mm-hmm.
And I said to them, "How do you sing such perfect English on the song, but you have your German accent?" "Oh, well, we try very hard." I mean, it was like Arnold Schwarzenegger. And they had no answer. And then, of course, when the thing was revealed, I went, "Oh, that's the answer." It was that fat guy who produced the song.
Mm-hmm.
And he was an American living in Germany.
Frank Farian. He's
Yeah,
the guy who
Frank
did
Farian.
Birmingham.
Yeah, he had a lot of great music.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, they just signed a really bad contract, and then they were stuck with that kind of situation.
Well, people have their moment in time when they have their creativity. The other one, just like that, was Black Box.
Yeah, that was happening a lot.
Well, we had a party at my house out on my runway for all the radio people in North America who came down to a big broadcasters convention that they have every year. And this particular year, they had it in Boston. So we thought, well, let's get them all out to, my house, and they can hang out. And we had it catered by the Hard Rock Cafe.
Nice.
And there was this lovely, tall black woman who was just striking. And she was presented as the singer in Black Box. We had the record labels brought in, each was allowed to bring in one artist. Mm-hmm. This is when the song Everybody was blowing up and Right on Time and all those songs. And so she gets up and she lip synced, which they all did. They didn't bring a band or anything with them. Well, then it's revealed that it's a singer named Martha Wash, who was a 210 mama. And
yep.
And she got no credit. And they have this model who they presented as a fake, image of who Black Box was.
And Martha Wash was also singing for CNC Music Factory. Same situation.
Right. Yes. Right. That was one of the biggest songs of the century. I mean, gonna make you sweat.
Yeah.
Everybody dance now. Boom, 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 boom.
Yes. The kids still know this song.
That's an amazing thing that, Naomi, that's going on. Thanks to the internet and Spotify and all that, mm-hmm. Young people today have a breadth of musical preferences that would bewilder anybody back in the 90s. Absolutely.
And they get to, so at the age where I was discovering music, my only source was the radio, Much Music, and the Arsenio Hall show, actually. That I got a lot from that too.
Oh, yeah. Speaking about music back then and Much Music, I forget what it was, but there was something online that somebody posted. It was my birthday or something. And I got a comment from Tarzan Dan. And I went, oh, my God, what happened to him?
Yes, we love Tarzan Dan. So he lives in Calgary nowadays. He's still broadcasting. He just battled cancer and won.
Oh,
So he's still just a ray of sunshine. We love Tarzan Dan.
he's a great guy. I met him a few times when we were up in Toronto.
Yep. No. He's a Canadian treasure.
Yeah, one of many.
And it's funny when we were talking about the whole Martha Wash situation, because the one who didn't do that was Marky Mark and the Funky Bunch.
That's right.
Lolita Holloway was actually on the song and in the video.
Yeah, yeah. I have a picture that was taken when Mark Wahlberg came out, when that song was popular. And I was looking at it, a couple months ago, and I'm thinking, God, who would have thought at that time that kid, he was like 18 or 19 back then, would have exploded into the movie star and music and movie producer that he became.
I know. And he's got so many businesses. Like, it's insane.
Yeah, yeah.
Amazing. Did you ever have New Kids on the Block on the show?
Oh, did we ever? We had them on all the time, and what was funny was when we'd have them on, when they were at the peak of their popularity, which was crazy.
Mm-hmm.
Our Monday morning, our affiliate radio stations all over North America, would tell us that people were showing up at the radio station because they thought that New Kids were at the station, because our show sounded like a local show wherever it was on.
Yeah.
And because it was live, and it had that loosey-goosey feeling that you get when it's live, as opposed to all contrived and structured, over-structured, and uptight. But I'll tell you how that happened. That's an interesting story. If you want the story, otherwise edit it out.
Nope, I want the story. Let's do it.
All right. Well, they set up an interview for me with Tiffany, who was big for 20 Seconds back then. I think We're Alone Now, whatever her song was.
Yep.
But they couldn't get her up to the studio at my house in suburban Boston. So they said, but you can come down to the venue where she's performing, which was a place called the Great Woods Center for Performing Arts. It's 20,000 person place.
Mm-hmm.
So I said, okay. So I went down there on a Saturday afternoon. It was an afternoon show, because most of her fans had to be in bed by 8 o'clock.
Fair.
And so we get there, and they take me in, and I interview her, and she's lovely and a sweet little kid.
Mm-hmm.
And so then this guy, I think it was Charlie Walk or somebody from the Columbia Records, said, hey, we have an artist who's the opening act who's really going to blow up. Do you want to interview them? And I thought, well, I'm here. I might as well. And if they do happen. They said, oh, yeah, they have a new song, and we're just releasing it. And I said, okay. So I go into this down the hall, and they take me into the dressing room. And as they open the door, I see these, teenage boys all wrestling and jumping all over the place. And this is back when they were like 14 and 15.
Mm-hmm.
And so I go in and I meet them and I interview them and okay. And I said, you ought to bring them up and go on the show tonight. I said, we don't have anybody in the studio. And oh, that'd be great. So we left, and sure enough, around 8:30, in comes New Kids on the Block, except it was only 4 of them.
Yeah.
There were two brothers, Jonathan and Jordan Knight. And Jonathan, because we were on a station in Boston called Kiss 108, he thought that we were at Kiss 108. So he went over to Kiss 108, which is like 20 miles away. And the rest of them came there, and they were fun.
Oh.
But it's predated, because before that, a few months, they have an annual thing in Boston called the Boston Music Awards, and I was there. And the acts perform and so forth. And during one of the acts that nobody cared about, everybody goes out in the lobby and gets a glass of wine and chats and so on. So I'm standing in this circle of people in the industry and friends of mine. And there's this kid, this young kid says, "Hey, you John Garabedian?" I said, "Yeah." I said, "Why?" He said, "Oh, I watch you on TV," because I had a television show. And I said, "What's your name?" He says, "Donnie." I said, "Why are you here?" He said, "Well, we have a group." And I said, "What's it called?" He said, "Nanu." And I said, "Oh, where are you from?" And he said, "Dorchester," which is a neighborhood in Boston. I said, "Oh, well, great. Well, I wish you luck. Work hard, and you might become successful." Well, that was Donnie Wahlberg.
Oh, Donnie, my heart.
And now he's a TV star.
Yep, absolutely. The kids did good.
Yeah.
The way.
With Jordan and David Dyson, the king of the go-go swing.
We can't believe the phones are going crazy. Everybody wants to talk to you.
Oh, man, well, we're ready to talk. But, John,
Yeah.
you got to order some Chinese food and some pizza because we want to eat when we get there. We just did a show. We're tired. We're hungry.
How about some Chinese pizza?
Oh, no. Oh, no.
What kind of Chinese food do you want?
Chicken wings, rice, lobster sauce, beef and broccoli.
Sounds like the standard New Kids backstage buffet. John, we better call somebody.
Who's that? Lisa Lips?
Yeah, we're...
Have word they are on the property. Right now, the security people are running around making sure there's nobody who's going to... Here they are. Sit down, Mr. Wahlberg. Sit down, Mr. Knight. Have a seat, please. Welcome. Welcome back, I should say.
Well,
Way back.
MICZ.
Yeah?
We brought Biscuit and David Dyson with us.
How you doing, guys? All right. Are these the guys that you're producing for your new...
No, that they stayed at, they wanted to stay at the hotel in Rejoice.
Yeah.
They opened our show tonight. They did really well.
Really?
They're called the Northside Boys.
Do you know how many people have been calling all night waiting for you guys to get here?
Well, we're here.
It's
But where's the
craziness.
food?
It's on the way. The Chinese pizza. So let's start. What's up?
Nothing. We just came from Worcester Centrum.
Yeah.
Did a big show for about 15,000 people, and it went real well.
I mean, you guys have become the hottest ticket in North America. You're the hottest act there is.
Yeah.
What does it feel like?
Too.
It's getting crazy.
It is crazy.
Yeah. It's wild.
Dino was here about an hour ago, and he said that his manager said they actually measured the sound level, and it was like 120 decibels, which is like a jet plane taking off. That's how the screaming was, and to get the music so that they could hear it, and they could hardly hear the music because they're screaming so loud.
That's good, because they don't want to hear us. Only joking.
After these messages, we'll be right back.
Hello, listeners. It has been such an experience doing this show for the last 5+ years, but it gets expensive. If you didn't know, there's a lot of costs that go into making a podcast. That's why we have our Patreon page, patreon.com/dope nostalgia. That's where you can go and subscribe, get all the extra details, bonus videos, and early podcast release for as little as $1 a month. Please subscribe today and help support one of your favorite podcasts.
Hey, this is Glenn Phillips, and you are watching or listening to the Dope Nostalgia podcast.
Welcome to Foo's Files, the ultimate podcast for fans of the Foo Fighters. Throughout this series, we'll be celebrating the enduring popularity, influence, and legacy of one of the world's biggest rock bands, through the eyes of fans, musicians, and other key contributors. Find out what it's like to work at close quarters with Dave Grohl.
I was probably always his biggest cheerleader to let him know that his talent was real.
Explore the band's influence and cultural impact on music and beyond.
What makes this band unique compared to other acts is how the band interacts with fans, and that influences how the fans treat each other.
If it wasn't for the Foo Fighters, I would have not had the last 20 years of my life in the way that I've lived.
And hear how lifelong bonds and friendships have been formed among a global community of loyal Foo Fighters fans.
the group of people that I've met through this band are my best friends, are the closest friends, and that is more than the band, I think.
I'll be your host, Dan Harrison, a media professional from the UK and a Foo Fighters fan of more than 20 years. Join me on this celebration of all things Foo by hitting the follow or subscribe button now on your favourite podcast app.
The taste is stimulating, and you know what that can lead to.
Makes a crunching noise. I'd like to be the one making the noise.
Flavor crystals? Try to get away with it in my class.
These dots indicate an explosive personality.
Cinnaburst with flavor crystals. Yes. May not be suitable for adults.
Hello, open house party.
It's Elton John calling, John. Is that you?
Elton John? No, this isn't really Elton.
John calling John.
What are you doing on the request line?
I want to request a song. It's all right, I listen to the radio. I'm entitled to request a song.
How do I know you're really Elton John?
It's a little bit funny, this feeling inside. There you go.
All right, what do you want to hear?
I want to hear, listen, there's a band from Atlanta called Rehab, and they did the Bartender song, and they have a new song which I love called 1980. Can you play that for me?
Why, of course. You live in Atlanta sometimes, don't you? You have a house?
I'm in Atlanta right now, yeah. I'm getting ready to go on the road with Billy Joel, so I'm staying here for a couple of weeks. But,
I saw that. Big stadium tour and everything.
Yeah, inside stadiums, the whole lot. I'm going on the road for a couple of years, so we're going to have a ball.
Now, how come you and Billy Joel are always out together? Is your husband David going to get jealous of this or what?
I don't think so. I don't think there's much chance of me leaving David for Billy and for Billy leaving Katie for me.
What is the magic you guys have together? I know musically you work together really well.
Well, we're such great friends, and there's not many piano players out there, so apart from Ben Folds and Bruce Hornsby and Alicia Keys, but we work so well. We got a great repertoire of hits. We love playing together, and it works so well. It's like a big party, and we can't wait to get out there and play for the people.
Well, let's play 1980 right now by Rehab, Elton John.
Thank you very much. Good to speak to you.
Well, nice hearing from you, too. Have a wonderful weekend.
Thanks. Bye.
Over and out.
Can you recall any very strange listener calls? Because like you said, the loosey-goosey feel where it felt like it was a local show. Probably a lot of that had to do with the fact that you had callers calling in all the time requesting songs and talking.
Well, we had, I don't know, we didn't have too many strange calls. You had a lot of little kids who you never want to put on. They sound like they're 10 years old. Oh, can I hear? And there was one guy who used to call almost every week, and it was Tommy from the Kingsley Trailer Park in Kingsley, Michigan. And he had some kind of a speech impediment, which made him very recognizable. Hey, this is Tommy from the Kingsley Trailer Park. And he was great. He was high energy. He'd always ask for a good song. And he was fun. There was one kid who started calling who was, his voice hadn't changed yet. His name was Mason from Wisconsin, Rhinelander, Wisconsin. And he'd call every week. Mm-hmm. And eventually, his voice changed, and he kept calling and calling. This is over the period of years. Mm-hmm. And when he was 15 or 16, he said, "Can I talk to you off the air?" And I said, "Oh, okay." So I started talking to him regularly. And he wanted to get into radio. He said, "I want your job," and blah, 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 blah. Well, when he was 17, I was at an aviation gathering that's held every year in Oshkosh, Wisconsin. And to say it's huge is understatement. 600,000 people go every year during this week in July. 10,000 private airplanes fly in. And he had moved by this time to Appleton, Wisconsin, which is right next to Oshkosh.
Okay.
And I said, "I want to be there." "Oh, well, I could meet you anyway." So I met him, and then I did my last show 2017.
Mm-hmm.
And he and his dad flew in the week before to see the show, so I got to meet him again. When he was 18, he had already gotten the job part-time working for a little radio station in Wisconsin on the weekend, and he was working for a company called Extreme Entertainment, which is the largest mobile DJ service in Wisconsin. You know, bar mitzvahs and you know, dances, parties, high school things. And so he really got a lot of experience. So he said, you know, there's no opportunity for me in Wisconsin. He said, I'd like to move to Boston. And I'm thinking, oh, what? Well, anyway, in January of 2020, he and his dad drove into my driveway.
What? No way.
Yeah, and but he's a really smart kid. So he started. He wanted to go start looking for a job, and this was January of 2020. And you know what that month was famous for?
Yeah.
The explosion of COVID.
Yes.
So nobody could go anywhere. Meanwhile, the United States radio business was in sharp decline. iHeart, the largest broadcaster with 850 stations, was having massive, what they called RIFs, R-I-Fs, reduction in force, letting hundreds and hundreds of people go. So they weren't hiring. Meanwhile, this time I owned 4 radio stations on Cape Cod. And I'd been talking to my operations manager about replacing the show we were running during the week, which was pre-recorded and syndicated, and it didn't sound very fun or exciting. It wasn't live. And he said, he'd met Mason, and he'd heard Mason. Oh, Mason also had a bedroom radio station that he ran 24 hours a day out of his house. He said, why don't we put Mason on? I said, oh, no. I said, you can't, eat and poop in the same spot. That's not healthy. Well, no, he's really good. So we did. And he sounded great. Because he'd been studying me for 10 years. So then I said, well, while they're letting all these people go, they're replacing them with either unhosted, no disc jockey, or they're putting on voice tracks where someone sits down and records little blurbs they play every 15 minutes, which is terrible. And it's coming at the worst time for radio, because for the first time with the incoming streaming services, radio for the first time ever had massive competition. Before that, if you wanted to hear music, as you said earlier, Naomi, your choice was the radio or buy a song from either a piece of plastic or from iTunes.
Yes.
So all of a sudden you could pay $10 a month or free, or with Napster absolutely free, get all the music you wanted. So radio was suddenly not going to be in the future the place where you went for music, because the competition was too strong. You had to have something compelling, a personality who you got to like, the companionship, something that only radio provides.
Right.
And at the same time, all these big broadcasters are dumping their personalities, especially the good ones who made the most money. They're trying to cut budget.
I know. I've seen it happen here, where they got rid of a morning show host who was incredibly popular because he was too expensive.
Right. And the economics of that are the ratings go down, the advertisers stop buying your station, your rates go down, your income goes down, and your profit goes down. But they didn't think that way. They just thought, we got to cut expenses. So as a result, there was, in my brain, there was a need for a national, get the very best personalities and stamp them out like McDonald's does with hamburgers, or Tim Hortons, or, you get the best something and you duplicate it. But music radio had never used satellites before. So we created a show called Liveline. And that was Mason. And the first affiliate was my Cape Cod's top 40 station. And in the first rating book, in a market with 26 radio stations, which is the Cape Cod radio market.
Mm-hmm.
Liveline debuted with a 25% share of audience.
Wow.
So out we went, and now we're up to about 75 stations, including 2 in Canada. And unfortunately, we still have to deal with the challenge of helping the station meet their CanCon requirements. And that's why I'm going, get rid of this.
It's just a
The
pain.
citizens of Canada will appreciate it.
It's such a pain. But Mason is also, I believe, the person who was uploading the open house party onto YouTube and to
Yes.
So he's created a library that you can tune into to hear the old episodes online.
And I'm astonished at the hundreds and thousands of people who listen to it. He had to take it off YouTube because playing music on YouTube without a license was causing an issue, or on Facebook if it's more than 30 seconds.
Right.
So he put it on some other site where you pay $4.95 a month and you can hear the full shows with the music. And people, you go online, you go into Facebook and see what people say about this stuff. And, oh, I listen every day and blah, blah, blah. It brings back memories. Sitting by the campfire, playing it on a portable radio, blah, 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 blah.
That's a great idea. That's a great way to listen to it. But it's so interesting. I'm going to provide a link for our listeners if they want to check out the library that he's created, because it's great.
Oh, great. Isn't it wonderful to be online with stuff like that?
Yeah. And there I'm listening to things like Make It or Break It Again, you know?
Right. And what do you think of Aperture, the new Harry Styles song? Do you love it, or do you think it's just too weird?
I haven't heard it.
Oh, well, it's on there. If you're listening to a current show, you can go to livelineradio.com also to hear the live show every night.
Okay, perfect. So Liveline is the way to go nowadays. That's great. I'm glad we can get that online, at least online here, which is nice.
Yeah.
Did you recall any of the craziest celebrity interviews you've ever done?
Oh my goodness, there were so many, so many, and we actually were instrumental in helping a lot of artists become noticed and become famous. They did a what do you call it? A book. What do you call a profile of somebody?
Like a biography?
A biography, sort of. It's a book.
Yeah.
Called The Harmony of Parts, and it's just basically the story of my life.
Yeah.
And on the back cover, we wanted to get some quotes from some famous people. So Lady Gaga says, "If it weren't for John Garabedian, no one would know who I am."
Oh, that's lovely.
Because back when Just Dance came out, her first song, the record company was ignoring it. They had no interest in it. They were pushing something else. And I heard it. I went, "This is a great song." We played a lot of dance music. And so we played it, and it became our number one request for weeks. And all of a sudden, the record company got excited and put it on, and they flew her in, and she came on the show. And there's another story, too, with that. She had brought the CD album, which had not been released yet. And she said, "Oh, we have a new song which is going to come out after Just Dance." I said, "What is it?" She said, "It's called Poker Face." I said, "Oh." She said, She said, "Why don't you play it?" I said, "Is it any good?" She said, "Oh, yes." I said, "I'll take your word." I said, "Is there any bad language in it?" She said, "Oh, no, of course not." So I put the CD in the CD player in the studio while we're talking or playing some other music. And we played it. And toward the end of it, I started hearing this repetition that didn't. It was supposed to be pop, 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 poker face. But it came out as something else. And the next day I listened to it, I went, "This is not what she's singing."
Oh, no.
And you can substitute the F word for the P word. And so we called the label's attention to it, and they said, "Oh, no." But a week later, we got a new single on a single CD that had the correct you could clearly hear it was a P, not an F.
So they had to change it? They had to edit that to make it...
They did. And I still hear
Wow.
radio stations today playing the wrong version.
No way.
Yeah. It's like Louie Louie. You remember Louie Louie?
Yeah.
Every night at 10, I her again.
Yeah. I remember that. Were you ever nervous to interview somebody like you were so honored that they were on the show that it actually gave you the nerves?
Yeah, there were a couple of, I can think of, the biggest one was Eminem.
Wow.
We couldn't get him to come to our place, so we went to his, and he was doing some special one-night show in New York at the Roseland Ballroom. Oh, my God, let me tell you. So we go there, and we're waiting. They say they'll take us in. And while we're standing backstage in this area where the dressing rooms are, this guy comes walking over with some beautiful woman. And it was Donald Trump.
Oh, no.
Yes, I didn't talk to him, but I was 10 feet away from him. So anyway, they take us into the dressing room. Eminem is ready. And we walk in. And the first thing I notice is there's a yoga mat on the floor. He's dressed all white in some kind of a yoga outfit, I guess. I'm not a yoga person, but and I'm 6'4", and he's probably 5'4".
Oh, really?
What my reaction was, I was embarrassed to be so tall because I didn't want to make him uncomfortable.
Oh.
But he was wonderful. He was marvelously eloquent, interesting. He answered questions directly, and it was a wonderful experience. He was great. Another artist who I was blown away by every time she'd come to the house, because she'd come to the studio, starting when she was probably about 17, was Rihanna. Just lovely woman, smart, fun, open, and stunning. She was just wonderful. And one time she came, I said, "Oh, I love your long hair, the way you have it." She said, "Well, I'm having it all cut off next week." I went, "No."
Oh, she was so young when she had that long hair. That's right.
Yeah, and beautiful. Just a beautiful woman. Wonderful. And I can't believe how smart she is. Most artists are sort of ordinary. But Eminem's the same way. Very, very intelligent.
Oh, yeah. It's obvious with him. Oh.
Yeah.
Big time.
Yeah.
I've heard talk of an open house party documentary. Is this something that's going to happen?
Well, that's being worked on, and we keep asking the same question. When are you going to finish it? I just started it around 2015, 14 or 15. And I know they've got tons and tons of footage, but it's a matter of putting it together, I guess.
These things take time, understandable, but
yeah,
it'd be something to look forward to. I would love to do that.
Me too.
I read that you bought a classic Boston radio station a couple years ago.
I did.
How's that going for you?
Well, that's another story. That everything's a story. There was a station in Boston, which when I was a little kid, I used to listen to, an AM station called WJIB. And in 1991, the station was doing very poorly and was sold at auction, and a guy named Bob Bittner bought it. And Bob was a radio announcer who'd been around, and he tried calling it KEAR or KER, something K-Earth, an Earth radio station with ecology and all that. Well, that didn't last very long. But then he found out the call letters WJIB were available, JIB, which were the call letters of a legendary Boston Beautiful music station back in the 70s and 80s. It was the first FM station in Boston that became successful. And being a programmer, he had no use for sales, which is the lifeblood of radio stations. You have to sell advertising because that's what pays for it.
Yeah.
So And he decided he was going to run it non-commercial and have a fundraising every year and have the listeners. And he started playing music for people who were basically over 50, because most radio stations cater to advertisers, and most advertisers want people 25 to 54, because they spend the most money on the most products, and therefore that's the audience they want. So stations target that. And when you get over 55, most commercial radio stations don't care about people. But he did, and that's all he played. He played music from the 40s, 50s, 60s, and 70s. Well, Bob died 3 years ago in May of 23, living up in Maine. He was a chain smoker, of course, and that didn't help things. And he left his widow, and at the time he owned, I think, 4 or 5 of these AM stations. But the one I was interested in when I heard about this being for sale was the one in Boston. But it was only 250 watts. And you could get it around metropolitan Boston, but not out in the suburbs where most of the people live these days.
Yeah.
So I bought the thing, and I'm also a broadcast engineer. And I figured out if we moved, and it was on 740 on the dial, and there's a 50,000 watt station in Toronto that came booming in every night. And at night, WJIB had to go down to 5 watts to protect the station in Toronto, which says dominant rights on that frequency at night. So I found that if we moved to 720, there was a station in Chicago that we would have to protect, but we could at least be on the air with some good power and cover the market at night. And in the daytime, we could increase the power 20 times and cover everything. So that's what we did. And then we changed the music, because after 30 years of playing music from the 40s, 50s, and 60s, those people were either now in their 80s and 90s or dead. So we did a population study of the breakdown of demographics in the Boston market, and we found out that 3% of the population is over 80, and 29% is between 50 and 80. So we started playing 70s and 80s, and a few songs from the 90s and above the 90s. I mean, Ed Sheeran, Celine Dion, songs that everybody knows and everybody loves. And we doubled the fundraising this year compared to the most that Bob ever raised.
Wow.
So that's the story of WJIV.
Well, that's wonderful. Congratulations on your well-deserved induction into the Broadcasters Hall of Fame. That was back in 2014, of course. But yeah, what was that experience like? Was there like a big award ceremony?
Not yet. I was nominated, but I didn't win. But that was last year. This year I'm in again.
Yeah?
And yeah, so I'm nominated again. And I'm in the Massachusetts Broadcasters Hall of Fame. And that was 10 years ago. Oh, no, 12 years ago.
That's the one I'm thinking of. That induction.
Yeah, that was fun. It was a big hotel banquet room with the whole broadcasting industry all sitting around, a little intimidating. When you're on the radio, it's not because you love being in front of people. It's because you love dealing with people, but you don't want to be in front of them.
Extroverted introvert.
Yeah, that's exactly what it is.
And of course, we did kind of touch on this, but I wanted to focus on talking about your book, The Harmony of Parts. I've seen excellent reviews on Amazon, so
thank you. Yeah,
people can definitely check it out there. Where else can they pick it up?
Well, it's on Amazon. I don't know where else. I think that's about it.
Yeah.
What else do you need besides Amazon? People say, how did you write your book? I said, I didn't write it. I said, it came about. I was at some friend's house for dinner one night, and we're sitting around the dinner table and talking, and I told some funny story about something, and everyone's laughing. And someone says, oh, you should write a book. And one of the women at the table said, yeah. She said, cousin is a book publisher. I'm going to call her up on Monday and tell her to write a book. and that's how it evolved.
Well, yeah, it's excellent. I haven't got it yet, and I want to read it. So I'm just glad it's there so people can learn. Is there advice in there for young broadcasters too? Is there stuff they can learn?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, you read this, you see me starting out as a little kid and growing up, and how did I get into radio? You see how that happens. How did I advance? What were the obstacles? How did I get fired 5 times from 5 different radio stations, 4 times from the same radio station?
That's amazing. Well, good, because like broadcasting, I know it's a difficult industry to get into right now, so this could be very inspiring for so many.
Well, you know, it's like anything in life. You have to chase your passion. You have to do what you love, providing it's not something ridiculous. But you know, there were a few career paths I could have taken, but I just thought broadcasting would be what I loved the most doing, and I happened to be pretty good at it. At least I thought so, and people would tell me, you know, I have the talent for it. So I did it, and but you know, it wasn't a smooth ride, and I applied for a license for my first radio station that I owned when I was 22, 23 years old, and it took 8 years to get the license, but we did, and we had challenges on that, and there's a whole story there. I mean, you know, if you're a young person looking forward in life to what kind of an adventure you're headed for, there's nothing worse than a boring career doing things that you don't like.
True.
You know, I'm 84 years old now. I don't look it, I don't act it, and I don't feel like it. And,
no, you look incredible. Good job.
Ooh, thanks. Yeah, well, I didn't do it. And you know, I don't go to the gym. I mean, I try to watch what I eat and be healthy, and that, and a lot of it is probably genetic. But I think the fact that I work every day, I mean, I run 3 companies.
Yeah.
Actively. I work 10 hours a day. And that keeps your brain active. And people who retire, there's a statistic that they're dead within 18 months.
Because they get bored?
Yeah, they die of boredom.
Right. No, it's good to keep going as long as you can and enjoy it. As long as you're enjoying it, like you said.
Exactly. Even doing something you don't enjoy, but it puts you in the mainstream where you're dealing with people every day, and you know, getting out of the house and not just sitting in front of a TV or online doing stupid stuff.
Have you ever considered podcasting, or do you have too much on your plate?
I did for 15 minutes, and then as I learned more about it, I found out that very few people make money at it. It's an act of love.
Yeah.
And I also realized that it is a real commitment. You can't just turn on a microphone and a recorder and go, and it's all done. You've got to do research and background and, you know, all that. And that's a lot of work, and it doesn't provide you a financial result unless you're very, very successful, like Joe Rogan. And I'm not Joe Rogan. And besides, I enjoy the production. I enjoy the presentation, putting the show together, all that. Yeah.
It's a labor of love. That's why I still do it. I'm in like 265 episodes now, and I still love it. So. Yeah,
well, that's right. Plus, I imagine one of the great benefits is you get to meet all kinds of different people.
Yes, I get to meet different artists. I get to meet other podcasters. I get to meet people like yourself that have been in the industry and have incredible stories. So it's been a real blessing. I absolutely adore it.
And when you're done, you go, oh, that was a great show. I put that together and contacted the person, and boom. But what am I going to do tomorrow?
That's what keeps it exciting.
Yeah, a challenge. A lot of work.
It is. But John, I really want to thank you for everything you gave me in my youth. You didn't know it, but your show and your personality and your work meant a lot to me growing up. So thank you for that.
Oh, well, I'm honored, Naomi. Thank you very much.
And always ending the show with Two Occasions, that song.
Yeah, by The Deal. Love that song.
Yes. So thanks again for being on the show. It's just been a total blessing to talk to you today.
Thanks, Naomi. Same here. And have a wonderful 2026.
You too. I'll send you an email.
And my apologies to Canada and the people of Canada for what's been going on. Oh, it's humiliating.
Well, I'll send you an email when this comes out because it's probably going to be about a month.
All right, cool.
I like to be ahead of the game.
Thank you very much.
Hi, I'm Danielle from New York, and I want to say goodnight to Shelley in Colorado, and thanks for letting me meet Donnie, Mark, and Jimbo. Happy birthday, Donnie, and I miss you all.
And it's Donnie's birthday Friday. He's 21 years old. Oh, isn't that wonderful? John Garabedian, thank you very much for being here. I want to thank Sweet Sensation for coming by. They're always a lot of fun. And we'll be looking for you next weekend here on Open House Party with Per Gessel of Roxette. Till then, we hope you have a wonderful night and look forward for a great week coming up. Learn from yesterday, live for today, dream for tomorrow. Most important, be your dream.
You can follow Dope Nostalgia on Instagram at dope_nostalgia and YouTube at Dope Nostalgia Podcast. Call and leave a message on our voicemail toll free. The number is 1-888-741-9192.
This podcast is licensed by SOCAN because we believe that artists should be paid for their work.
Hey, friends.
I kind of miss getting those messages on my answering machine like we used to back in the day. What I'd really love is to hear from you, the listeners of Dope Nostalgia. This is your chance to be on the show, giving feedback, telling us what you love, what you hate, and who you'd like to see more of.
Call us at our new toll-free number,
1-888-741-9192. Leave us some feedback. Your message could be played on the show. So give us a call, 1-888-741-9192.
toll-free.